Good evening. I'm Colin Spencer. Vote for me for governor because if you do, I'm going to pass universal health care. I'm going to take all these insurance middlemen that do nothing to help you in your health care, don't increase any kind of quality of care that you receive, and they only just push money to push paperwork. They do nothing, add no value. I'm going to eliminate those people. I'm going to do Medicare for all. For teachers, I'm going to raise the teacher salaries across the state so that we can have a higher quality and attract a better teaching base. I'm going to knock out the private school vouchers. That way that we can stop subsidizing people that are already going to private school and don't need the money. And I'm going to use that money and funnel it back into the public schools. And I'm going to increase the quality of the infrastructure. I'm going to fill the potholes in the streets. I'm going to raise taxes on the billionaires. I'm going to raise taxes on the corporations to fund all this. So you don't have to ask, where are we going to get the money to fund all this? I'm going to tax the big oil, the oil executives. Oil is here in Oklahoma. This is our land. This is our oil. If they want to leave the state, it's all right here. They ain't leaving the state. So we need to tax them and be able to fund all our resources for our people. We're going to expand social safety nets. We're going to make community college free for everybody, and we're going to work on public school being free as well for higher education. Just made that up on the fly, and it's far from being polished, but that is actual.
He's not really running for governor.
Yeah, no, and I no, they would dig up way too much dirt on me, so the attack ads would be brutal. And they would be a bunch of my Facebook fights, unfortunately. So, look, it's not that hard. I literally just made that up off the dome. She doesn't tell any lies. I did not sit here and talk about I'm gonna go do that. I just did it. It's not hard. These are like policies. This is stuff that would help everyday Oklahomans. This is stuff that would stick a middle finger to the rich of the rich. I don't care. You shouldn't either, by the way. And if you're the richest of the richest, you should actually be for that because you want to be able to live in a polite society where everybody's doing well and they're not coming after you. So today's video, the second one, we just did an Oklahoma GOP gubernatorial candidates. Now we're going to do the Democrats.
And independents.
And independents. So she's done the research over here. She's worked hard on it. She's going to read off points about the candidates. I'm going to give a little bit of reaction and she'll finish off for that candidate. So without any further ado.
So we'll start with the independents. There actually are 3 independents running for governor. So if you're a registered independent, I know there's a change in our elections this year. Usually in Oklahoma, the Democrats allow independents to vote in their primaries. That has changed this year. But if you're an independent, you have 3 candidates that you can vote for in your primary. So, the first one is Robert Brooks. I will say they all seem like they're smaller campaigns. They don't have the money that we talked about in our previous video. So for him, I could only find a Facebook at the time that I was researching. That could change. He seems like a good guy. Talks about unity, that the people have the power. It really criticizes other candidates in this race who have a lot of money for their own campaigns. And he's also very big on criminal justice reform. Talks about how most people or a lot of people that go into prison will eventually come out, and what are we doing for them to help them be better citizens when they come out. So criminal justice reform seems like a really big issue of his. But again, all I could find was a Facebook, so that's what I saw from the scrolling I did on his Facebook.
Yeah, so it didn't sound like he is, obviously gonna have the same resources and be able to put himself out there and like run his own big website kind of thing, which is a little bit unfortunate. But he seems to be obviously an independent candidate, independent thinker in general. So I think that the changing prisons and jails from being punitive, like some cases do need to be punitive. If you're like a mass murderer, yeah, there's no rehabilitation. You absolutely need to be punitive. If you're an abuser of children, be like there's I just think there are some cases where it should be punitive, but so much of it should be about rehabilitation and getting these people ready to get back on the streets, or stay off the streets but get back into society and be able to work and be productive and not have to return, to make it that makes a better world, and it makes it safer for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I hear that and I immediately think that's really positive. So I think that could be a good candidate for the policies. I wish that they had a bigger platform.
Mm-hmm. The next one is, the name is Orlando Lynn Bush. I couldn't find a thing. Couldn't find a Facebook. Couldn't find a website. Nothing
But what a name.
about this person. So
Independent, yeah.
they have filed to run, but I couldn't find anything else. Um, the third independent is, his name is Jerry Griffin. Again, could only find a Facebook. But I found a news article about him. He's a former Tulsa school board member. And there was an article about him in 2025 that said he was going to be running for state superintendent. But that changed somewhere, I guess, because now he's running for governor. Um, Again, and like I said, I could only find a Facebook, which it's a little bit harder to find like their main issues on a Facebook, because on a website they'll have a page that specifically lists, these are what I'm focusing on. On a Facebook, you have to just scroll and read all their posts. So I don't, like I said, he has a history in education. At one point was thinking about running for superintendent. Now he's running for governor. I did find he said that he wants the superintendent to be an appointed position and not voted on. I don't agree with that. Um, Simply because it depends on who you're gonna have it in power. Like I can't trust everyone to appoint a good superintendent. For example, our current governor also supports the superintendent being appointed. Well, he he was a big champion for Ryan Walters in the beginning. Um, so I don't agree with that. I can't trust that. Um, this man Jerry, he did also post on his Facebook that he's having heart surgery coming up. He said he's not dropping out of the race because of it, but he's just like giving an update. So I don't know. It seems like a slower campaign. He doesn't have a lot of followers. Only has the Facebook. It's not a huge campaign at this time.
Yeah, it doesn't really sound too serious, and we're not like saying that if you have any heart problems you can't run, but it's a legitimate risk, and so
Yeah.
you have to take that kind of stuff seriously. So yeah, I don't have much to say on that guy.
Yeah, so those are the three independents. Unfortunately, they are smaller campaigns. Um, of course, the plus about the two that we could find information on, they are not running on their loyalty to any certain politician. So that's all good stuff. Just smaller campaigns, and unfortunately, in our system, you have to have some money to get your campaign out there. So I don't know how successful they will be, but if you're an independent, you do have three candidates to vote for in the primaries. We also have three Democrats running. I didn't even know. So number one is Cyndi Munson. She has a pretty good history in our state government. She most recently has been in the state House of Representatives. She was the House Minority Leader. Very qualified. Has very good. Why did I just go?
She's got a good
Experience
resume. Yeah.
in resume. Yes. She also talks about that she's just a regular. She grew up in Oklahoma to a single dad. Her dad was in the military. She knows what it's like to be just a regular person. Um, we talked in our previous video about some of the larger campaigns, um, how those candidates are funding the majority of their campaigns. And I wish I would have also pointed out the exact numbers, but what I saw showed how much they were funding for themselves, and then like the number of individual donations they had, and it was a pretty small amount because they're funding themselves. Cyndi is fully funded by the people. She has about 1,400 individual donations. Um, so, and again, why that's important. I see her, I'm just gonna, this is my favorite candidate. You
Mine
can
too.
probably tell. But so I follow her campaign. I see every day, every weekend, she is out in a new town in Oklahoma. She is going around to everywhere in Oklahoma talking to people, talking to real everyday people the way that I don't see any other candidate doing. And she is getting donations from the people because that is who she is going to answer to. That's who she's going to work for.
Yep.
Um, so that was just important for me to point out for her. Now, if you go to her website, obviously she got nothing about Trump. She's not with Trump. So bonus for her there. Her main issues that she's focusing on. She wants to invest in public schools and raise teacher pay, specifically stating she wants to end the school voucher scheme, which we could do a whole video on that of why the school vouchers are an issue. We will have to do that. She wants to provide tax relief for everyday Oklahomans, not tax relief for these rich people. She wants to provide tax relief for you, a regular person. And she has a history of doing this. She led the bipartisan effort. Recently, our state tax on groceries went away. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
What was that, a couple years ago?
Yep.
She led the bipartisan effort to do that. So she has shown that that is a priority for her. Issues for regular people. Lowering healthcare cost is also one of her focus issues. And then she wants to repeal Oklahoma's abortion ban by sending it as a vote to the people. I mean, I could go on and on about her, but those are the things that I wrote down from her website.
Do you see the difference if you watch the other video before? Like, she actually has policies and a bunch of them. Like, you could sit there and like she just said, just try to comb through them all day. So number one check before everything else. She's fully individual funded, as she said. Doesn't take money from corporations, no PACs, no billionaires. So that's really good stuff.
And she's not rich herself and able to fund her own campaign.
Because she gets it. She is like the rest of us that are the working class out there. It's not to say that you can't be a wealthy person that understands the working class. Mark Cuban came from the working class. I feel like out of all the big time billionaires, he actually gets it. So, there's a bunch of policies that you can glean from, raising the teacher minimum wage, putting a vote to the people about abortion. What about the whole leave it up to the states kind of thing? Okay, well, there you go.
Then let us vote. Yeah.
So, fantastic candidate. She's got my vote too. Unfortunately, not the primaries. I made a dumb decision of registering as a Republican. Screw me. Tried to help them in the primaries and realized they're all crazy. But, she will absolutely be my vote in the general. So.
The next one, it just said the name Arya or Arya, Arya, and it has a picture of a man, and it says that he was born in Oklahoma City. No last name. I couldn't find anything else about this man.
Winner.
So I don't know what's going on with Arya. If we find out more, I guess we'll have to report back. But there was no last name.
Are you watching Aria?
If you are, let us know. We'd love to find out what you're about.
Aria?
Um, the third Democrat running, her name is Connie Johnson.
Connie.
And I will say, and we'll talk about her. I think she would be a great candidate as well. Um, she is a she's a bit older, so I will. So
Her name is Connie.
Cyndi is 40 years old. Miss Connie is in her 70s.
That was my grandmother's name.
And you know what? And I think her name is Constance.
Constance, just like my grandma.
Um, and nothing wrong with that. I do think we need to start getting some younger people into office. But Miss Connie, I looked at her website. She is a former state senator. She has like 30 years in public service, whether that be in government and whatever else that she's done. She has a lot of experience. Um, According to her website, when she, in her, previous positions, she says that she was the architect of Oklahoma's medical cannabis law. So
That's big time.
yeah, so and then these are, she has several core issues listed on her website. Healthcare, criminal justice reform. She says she's an opponent of the death penalty, and also talked about how, um, I think when she, I think it said when she was a senator, there was some bill that was trying to put the death penalty like into our constitution or something maybe, and she said that she was like one of the biggest oppositions to that. Cannabis, obviously, like she said, she was big in creating that law. Voting rights and civic engagement, uh, veterans, reproductive rights, environmental justice, and public education. Um, Miss Connie is also a black woman. We love to see women in office. We love to see women of color in office.
And by the way, it's because it's all about representation.
Right.
You should have your representatives look like your state and your country. So just have it all a bunch of white people. It's not just, oh, I want the black person. It's, I want America to feel represented as a whole.
Right. So yeah, Connie has really good experience, history, showing that she has gotten stuff done. She's got a whole list of issues that are a priority to her. Um, I will say that she doesn't seem to have as big of a following as Cyndi Munson does. Her campaign seems a bit smaller. Um, so I don't know how she'll do, but she would be a quality candidate as well.
Yep.
Simply because she is focusing on issues that are impacting people. So
It does seem like she has a bunch of like generic, like you just say, I'm for better education. I'm for, and so like I would like to dig into, like Cyndi actually points out how she will be able to.
well, and she did have, I think that she pointed out that she also wanted to get rid of the school vouchers. She just her list was a lot longer, so it was like,
You're just getting the main bullet points.
right. So there were some parts where she said like how she, or like what she would do, not for every bullet point. So I kind of just focused on like her core issues, but she does have a website that you can go to and look more into what she has to say about those issues.
Yeah, and she's being polite, and maybe, and she's her own person. I'm my own person. We have our own views. So Ashley is, she's not as hard on people who are in their 70s, saying that's okay to be in office. Personally, I'm done with it. I think that it's time to. It's time to have new blood. We need a bunch of fresh fighters. She sounds very wise and very full of good policies, and I have no doubt she can fight too. But I'm a little bit bullheaded, a little bit stubborn right now. Somebody like Cyndi, I think, is going to get in there and really fight and push for actual, working class Oklahomans. So, and I'm preaching the, excuse me, I'm preaching the choir with that because I know that's your girl. So, yeah, we're big time Cyndi Munson fans. We're not gonna hide it. Sorry, I feel like I'm getting even more nasally as this video goes on, but big time Cyndi fans. I will rejoice when she wins. We just did this video on the GOP people. I'm sorry. I'm not even just trying to be partisan. Like, legitimately, like, we are lost as a state if we choose that direction. So I'm looking forward to big time voter turnout. Make sure you get out there and go vote.
And I also just want to say, yes, along with getting out and voting, Cyndi talks about this a lot because people tell her, like, oh, a Democrat's not going to win in Oklahoma. Which, first of all, we had a Democratic governor not all that long ago. I mean, when we were in high school, I mean, yeah, like, we're getting older. It was a little bit ago. But when we were in school, we had a Democratic governor.
We were 16th in education and not 50th.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe we weren't in high school, but at least middle
No,
school.
we were.
Okay.
Brad Henry.
So, anyways, a Democrat can win, first of all. But Cyndi says, we are not a red state, we are a gerrymandered state. And I want to add on to that also. We are a gerrymandered state that has the lowest voter turnout in the country. Only 50% of eligible voters voted in the last election in Oklahoma, and the one before that, I think, as well. So go vote. It's not hopeless. I think there are more people out there that are ready for something different than what it seems. And yeah, go vote and really look into who is going to govern for you, and not just the loyalty to some politician who doesn't even know who you are.
Yep. Politics, whether you care or not, they affect every single facet of your life, all of them. Even the cost of the tickets to get into the sporting events that you like to go watch. So, or your cable subscription if you want to watch TV. So,
speaking of, we got to go turn on the Thunder game.
Yep.
So.
Yep. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Odd one out.